I've actually negotiated with somebody who I was the last person to have a conversation with the person. Some of those are really hard because you've built this rapport. I remember one case where this person, I shared a lot of childhood experiences. We'd fished the same areas, camped at the same areas, and he admitted to doing a lot of heinous things. Ultimately, I was the last person to have the conversation with him.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
I've got Sergeant Justin Elliott here today with me. You have had a law enforcement career of over 20 years, almost a quarter of a century.
Yes,
I love
ma'am.
it.
Yes.
You are currently serving as a sergeant in the city of Eagle, and you have been on the Ada County Crisis Negotiations team since 2014, as its team leader since 2021.
That's correct. Yes.
I am so excited just to get a little bit of insight from you into a world that I really know nothing about, and I feel like I tap into it a little bit every time I talk to you, but I just think it's fascinating what you see and what you experience, and thank you for being here. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for this opportunity. In my whole career, I never thought I'd be doing a podcast, so thank you for this.
This is a conversation, right? Like, it's just to get a little bit of, I'm very curious, right? My whole podcast is, everything is intentionality to curiosity. I just want to know more about people. So I would love to kind of turn it over to you. Tell me, please, let's start it. What made you want to go into law enforcement? Like, what was the moment in life?
Okay. Well, I went to school at the University of Idaho, went to school to study wildlife resources, and eventually wanted to become a fish and game warden. Had a lot of fun up in college. Remember turning on the TV on a Tuesday morning. It was actually September 11th, turning on the TV and seeing the second plane hit the Twin Towers. And at that point, I didn't know what was going through my mind. I was just scared. And one thing I decided is I want to be one of those people running into those buildings and saving people rather than anything else. So, I talked to my mom. I remember a lot of stuff that happened that day, and people filling up the gas cans and just not knowing what tomorrow brought. And I wanted to be part of the group that was trying to bring calm to that chaos. And changed my ways, finished up school, and ultimately got hired on at the Ada County Sheriff's Office and haven't looked back since.
Wow. Okay. So it was 9/11 really kind of set the trajectory for you.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Tell me, run down a little bit about the different roles you've had since you've been with Ada County.
Okay. Well, I started in the Ada County Jail. Most deputy sheriffs start out there. I didn't have a lot of life experience prior to that. So having to learn how to talk to an intoxicated individual, learning how to talk them down from wanting to punch me to just getting them to comply. And I learned a lot of skills there. Worked in the booking area, worked in the housing area, became a training officer. Jail is a really fascinating place to start out a career. One day you can be talking to murderers and rapists and even terrorists, and just kind of learning how they tick, and then just having good conversations with different people. And obviously there's some people that just kind of go through some unfortunate events and they're there for a reason. And those are people I had conversations with as well. But started out in the jail, transferred to patrol 3 years after that. So actually transferred on 9/11 of 06.
Oh, wow.
So I went to patrol, went through the academy, went through training. I was a patrol officer for 3 years in unincorporated Ada County. Areas kind of south of the interstate is where I specialized in. Transferred to the city of Star, worked under Chief Ramage and Chief Laraway at the time. Learned kind of the small town law enforcement policing. Became a detective in 2013, a property crimes detective, and I stayed there working with some great dudes until 2021 when I promoted.
Wow. Okay. What was the most exhilarating, in all these roles, right? There has to be something that's the most exhilarating. I mean, inquiring minds want to know.
There's been so many fun things that I've been able to do and being a part of, but I think every different phase in the career, whether it's starting out in the jail and just kind of learning how to become a police officer and just the camaraderie with the jail teams, transferring to patrol, that's obviously exciting. It started out, it was all about fast cars and light bars is what we call it. But then settling down to be more of a mentor to officers, having some critical incidents going through that. There's just been so many great experiences in patrol, but transferring to detectives, the teamwork there, working with some of the same partners year after year, interviewing the same people year after year, and just kind of working on a one-on-one basis with teammates. And then getting confessions was awesome. But right now, my current role is a supervisor, and I have a lot of fun doing that. So every place that you go through is always fun and always exciting. Everything's just a little bit different. But now I get to see the next generation that's going to be replacing my generation, and just seeing the excitement and seeing the energy that they're going through, and working through some of those calls that they have to experience for the first time, and just assuring them, hey, it's going to be okay. We're going to work through this. We got this. And just watching as some of the light bulbs turn on for some of them, and just realize that, hey, I can do this. Every different aspect's always been fun.
That's awesome. I would think that now, as you've done all these different roles and seeing the new gen come in, it's kind of like a little full circle, probably, just because for me, I would think it would tap into like, I did that. That was cool. I remember when I was going through that. I remember these calls and how crazy, just what you don't know what you're going to expect, right? So I would think that that's a cool thing to just kind of see it now. I guess we all get replaced someday, right? Like life just happens where, we move on into a next step. So I think that that's really cool.
Well, thank you.
It sounds rewarding, right?
It is. And realizing I don't have to be the first person through the door, but I have to manage that and make sure that, okay, everyone's being safe, doing it this way, so then they can go out experience and go have those experiences. It's pretty exciting.
So maybe then an extra level of also pressure if you now have to be the one. So where it was really exhilarating for you when you were in that position, and then to come back and now you're the one kind of setting the stage for it. All right. So full circle and a little bit of pressure. That's what happens with power, right? A little bit of power, supervisory stuff. It's a little pressure.
It is, yes.
Yeah. But okay. So now your non-work life, your family life, because you are a family man. How do you balance? How do you balance what you see and what you deal with at work, especially maybe when there's kiddos involved, and then you go home? Was there a moment in your life, in your career, that you really struck a good balance with keeping family life, keeping work life separate? I would imagine, from someone who's not in it, I would imagine that gets challenging I guess you have to be a master at compartmentalization. That's a good one.
No, that's good. Yeah, I guess the work-life balance is always hard. Early in my career, I think I put my career in front of my family. I came to the realization that, you only get to see your kids grow up once. So I kind of, there's some calls that kind of evolve, that kind of change your perspective on life a little bit. And I had experienced several of those, and you just kind of learn how to work through those calls. But also, I try really hard not to expose my children and my wife to them. My wife is a deputy with Ada County as well.
Okay.
So I'm able to talk to her about a lot of the stuff. There are some boundaries. I can't talk about kid stuff with her. So that's where I go get professional help with. I was dealing with a call that happened in 2009 or so, and just reliving it throughout my, just about once a week or so, and just reliving it, and for 9 years in a row. But you soon realize you can't do it by yourself anymore. And I got some help, and it's kind of come full circle. Lisa Johnson was the person I got some help from, and she's our wellness coordinator with the sheriff's office now. So it was really cool because I got to see someone that I saw on a professional side become part of our Ada County family, and I'm a member of the peer support team right now. So we get to kind of help some people deal with some of those calls, but it's all done with the best intention to help somebody cope with what we see and what we experience. When I started my career, it definitely wasn't that mentality. It was more of we always call it suck it up, buttercup. And just to see it kind of come full circle. In fact, Sheriff Clifford has pushed for more health and wellness benefits for some of our detectives that see some of the more traumatic cases on a daily basis. So it's really cool seeing how it's progressed from when I started to what it is now.
So I love that. First of all, I love mental health, and the fact that there are so many more industries. And this started, I would say, a few years ago, but then in various industries, it's taken time, right? Of just implementing it, of offering the support, having the resources available. I feel the suck it up, buttercup has been a mentality just probably also of our generation and therefore our parents' generation. If we came from families that had immigrants, right? Like I have immigrant family. So it's very like you don't air it, you push through it, whatever it is, you just basically deal with it, right? But I think we've gotten to a point, or we've arrived at a point in life and society where some probably tragedy, a lot of tragedy had to happen for the majority of either leaders or bosses or industries to realize that, hey, if we don't take care of our house, our business house, our team, whatever it is, that's going to be a big problem across the board. Like it doesn't allow us to move forward and thrive. So I do appreciate that all of these industries, especially first responders, law enforcement, like everybody, military, everyone is getting the resources that they need. So would you say that when that happened in, oh my gosh, in your job, all of a sudden I'm losing in the force, okay. Would you say that when that happened, when all of the support was readily available, did everyone get on board immediately? Or are there always those people, that old school mentality that are just stick in the mud? I would think that not everyone's going to jump on board immediately. It's hard. It's hard to admit it, right?
Sure. Yes. I believe it's about 2014 or so. Sheriff Rainey started mandating every other year you must go see a psychiatrist and for a wellness checkup. And they're not going to force you through a door and make you go talk to somebody. It's somebody you're able to choose, and you can talk about anything you wanted to at the time. And it took me several years to go from I'm fine, I don't want to talk about it, to a place where I can actually talk to somebody about that. And there are some people that it didn't work for them. They never wanted to open up, which is fine. I think that's one nice thing about it is it doesn't work for everybody. Some people aren't willing to open up, and that's, once again, it's fine. But I think we see more traumatic events that happen nowadays than when I started. So just anything to help these people cope, the law enforcement professionals, just helping them cope with what they see and what they experience is a true benefit. And we have a peer support team, like I said earlier, that I'm a part of. And I was at first apprehensive about attending a stress debriefing. It took me a couple of years to actually go to my first one, and I saw the benefits immediately. So once again, we don't require people to go to those, but they often paint a picture for somebody and maybe enlighten them to some information that they may not have known about. And I found it beneficial. I promote it every single time I get the opportunity to.
Well, shout out to the department for giving you all these resources, because I think when you're speaking and, I guess getting to know the other side, or getting to know a little bit of insight of what like anyone in law enforcement goes through on a daily basis, we can never imagine it, right? Because we don't know unless we're involved in, God forbid, something tragic ourselves, or we have to experience it from the personal side, but we don't know what you see. But I can just imagine how much it is. So it's like refreshing and kind of comforting also for us to know that those who are protecting and serving us are also able to get any kind of help and support that they need. I think that that's crucial, and so well done to the department for that.
Yes, and I think even our paramedics and our fire personnel, I think fire has really kind of led the way on it. And we've done some stress debriefing with fire. And one thing that they mentioned, and I was talking to somebody on my way here about it, but brain stain. And like in the past year, I've experienced some traumatic calls in different parts around Eagle, and like those memories never leave. But as you like drive through a community, I grew up in this area, but just driving through different areas, I have different memories associated with different intersections, different houses. And he described it as brain stain. And I love that term, because you'll never get rid of it. You just have to learn to like, hey, I remember what happened over here. And as your career goes through, you start to get more brain stains and more intersections, more houses, till you get to the point where whole areas or whole blocks or areas of our experiences that you'll never forget. And just helping these people, all first responders and even our dispatchers, helping them kind of work through some of the stuff that they hear that they don't get to see, So we kind of filling in the blanks for them is a way that we can all kind of cope. And we're all one big family, whether it's, fire, paramedics, dispatch, jail, whatever. We're all one big family, and just helping each other work through these things just so they can have a long and lengthy career is what we're all trying to do for each other.
Support, kind of an overall support, right? So I guess on that, because it is one big family, because it is such a team-oriented thing, do you ever have like the Lone Ranger needs to be a hero person, and how is that? Like over the years in your career, has that ever happened? I would think that there is always some kind of Avenger type person that needs to do something alone and kind of go rogue. Do you have that a lot, or is that just movies that's painting this picture for me?
I'm trying to think. I can't really think of a lot of Lone Ranger type of instances. I mean, there are times where if something's happening and you're the only police officer there, you have to go be the police officer. So there might be some exigency to that. But as a supervisor, as a mentor towards people, normally one of the questions is can we wait for another officer? Or is this something we have to go take care of by ourselves? So just being able to watch that and ask those questions afterwards. I don't really think we have a lot of Avenger type things. It's normally very team oriented, whether it's being a detective, being on a patrol team, working in a jail or dispatch, or even as crisis negotiations, it's all about the team.
Awesome.
Yes.
That makes me happy. So we've had so much growth in the area, right? Between all the cities. I mean, the whole valley has just exploded. And I contributed to that growth because I moved here over 5 years ago. Still relatively, I still feel safe. You know what I mean? So on the whole, and I also compare to maybe where I came from, which was California. And I still feel safe every day. I know that, like, I just talked to Starr's mayor, and they talk about he was talking about the proactive policing. And I love that because I think when you're still able to kind of have a hand in control, we like things to stay safe. I appreciate you guys keeping it safe for us. So you're seeing that though across the board, right? We're still pretty good.
We're still pretty good.
Okay.
I grew up in Boise. I was a kid. I grew up about 2 miles from the Ada County Jail. We used to be able to leave our garage doors open at night. Doors unlocked. I would not suggest that now, but even as a property crimes detective, I remember when I first started, it was just lock your car, you'll be okay. We call them smash and grabs, where somebody breaks the window, steals the contents, and leaves. We never have smash and grabs, and that's what I preached when I started. But that has obviously changed, and I think part of the Treasure Valley is we have that sense of security, and that. And people get a little complacent, and the Treasure Valley is targeted for that reason. We do have traveling crews that come through, and crime syndicates that actually expose our sense of security here. So we do have that. Maybe we're seeing more of it now because we're getting better at detecting it. But I think there's been an element that's always been there. But as we get more people, we do have more problems. But I would still, I raised my kids here, so I would say that it's a safe community.
Yeah, I still think that I like what you just said. Like, logic still applies, right? Just because you move somewhere and they say, I remember when I came here and people were like, yeah, we don't even lock our doors. And the first thing I did was call and get an alarm installed in my house because of just where I came from. But also, I love that, right? Like, I love that you don't lock your door, but I'm going to lock mine with an alarm that triggers the police if it's hit, right? So there's different elements. It matters, I think, a lot of where you're coming from, but the complacency thing, that's a really good point, just because if you do come here, and if I had just believed that, I would never leave my purse in the front seat of my car open, maybe on the dashboard or something, because why are you doing that? It's almost like you're testing, are you trying to have problems? My grandpa, God bless him, when he was alive, he was an Italian immigrant, and he had this line that, and it was probably, it was just like translated from Italian into English, but it was a beautiful line. And so I find myself repeating that a lot. Are you stupid or are you just acting stupid? Okay. This was like such an ism. And I love it so much because I say it a little gentler to people when I talk to them and they maybe say something that happened to them. It's like, but did you kind of put yourself in that position? Like, could that have been avoided maybe? So yeah, I get it. With growth comes, we can't control everyone who's coming in here. No. We don't know everyone. It's growing so fast that in order to keep that safety and keep that small town feel, I would get it. You still have to be smart about it. So you guys do all you can, and I appreciate that, but you still have to be smart about it.
Well,
so with everything you see and everything you deal with, and yes, you have all the support at work, what's your main way of like your personal just close it out, reset? What's your reset?
I got a couple, but the minute I come home, all the work stuff goes off. My work phone goes with me everywhere I go. It actually goes with me more than my personal phone does. So there's that. But I don't think we even have a lot of law enforcement stuff in our house other than a single flag. So I really try to leave that stuff at the door. I go in and I'm just dad to the kiddos and to my wife. I think they're not exposed to what I see, which is cool. I do what I can to protect them from it, but I'm just dad. I'm just dad who likes to mow the lawn or likes to work on the house. And so just being able to separate those two. But the minute I leave for work in the morning, it's Sergeant Elliott. But I'm an outdoor enthusiast. That's my reset. That's one of my resets where I can go fishing for a couple days, and the wife knows that's Justin's time for just to let me detach. I'll go fishing, come back home, just super happy. I go hunting for a few days, and once again, it's by myself. I'll bring my work phone only because I wouldn't know what to do with myself without it. But at least at that point, I can kind of still stay attached in case somebody calls needing something. But it is my reset. It's and I think that's why a lot of people move to Idaho, is to be able to enjoy the outdoors and just see what we have to offer. Go out and hike and not run into somebody for a couple days. But that's one of the best ways for me. Sometimes I'll bring along some people to share stories with, but normally it's just by myself.
Your quiet time.
Yes.
We all need those moments and those things that refill our cup, because no matter what career, but especially when it's a career that happens to be that heavy and you see so many things that the average person doesn't see. Like, I don't see what you see in real estate. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see it. But I deal with other things that I just need to fill my cup sometimes. I love silence, so I find that it's a very specific person who can reset themselves in silence, right? I'm a natural introvert. A lot of people need other people to refill and just give them back that energy.
Sure.
So the fact that you're like nature, quiet, and your life and work is noise, right? It's calls, it's this, it's information. It's probably such an overload that I couldn't even fathom what you're hearing and dealing with on a daily basis. So I love that it's quiet and fishing and something calm and just chill. Let's talk about crisis negotiation team.
Okay.
Because that fascinates me. And negotiation just as a whole, I think it's the whole thing. And you did this amazing presentation for us a couple months ago that was just phenomenal. And so what is it about that, being a part of that team, that's the most, like, that's so fulfilling for you? What do you love about it?
When I originally came onto the team, they had openings and nobody put in for it. And the sergeant at the time, the team lead at the time, pulled me aside. He's like, "Hey, Justin, I really need somebody. Can you just do this?" So I begrudgingly applied for it, and I was obviously selected to the team. But once I got on it, I realized how much fun it is. The team environment. There's not one part about crisis negotiations that you can do by yourself. You can't be that lone Avenger person. You are so reliant on teamwork and just building that trust with people, and ultimately having those positive outcomes. Getting the person who might just be in crisis to come out and talk to us it's absolutely amazing. And we've had so many great wins throughout my career that I've been a part of, and people that have been shared stories with afterwards. And it's so exciting to know that our team was able to have a successful outcome. And just being there and experiencing people as they had their first person that they called out, called out to an exit plan is awesome.
So how many people are you on the team? Around, like, average?
So as of yesterday, we were at 10, but I just called somebody last night and gave her the good news. So we're now at 11.
Wonderful.
I know. I was very excited for that.
Good. You said call, and I'm like, I don't know, this is going to go 50-50. This next statement's going to go 50-50. Someone's bummed or someone's stoked. Okay, so 11 people on the team.
Yes.
You do additional training for that. It's yearly, right? You have to do like additional learning.
Yes, yeah, we do 40 hours of training per year.
Okay.
We also participate in a conference that also has an 8 or 9 hour scenario to start off the conference. We compete every year in that. We also have a level 1 and a level 2 class just to be on the team and actually be able to negotiate that we go through. But yeah, we have yearly trainings. We have call outs that we'll go out to. So it's a collateral duty. It's not my main assignment, but it's something that I'm very passionate for.
Awesome. Okay, so you can share as much as you can share and want to share. But what's like the longest situation, the longest hostage situation you guys were working on? Sometimes you again, all my experiences from movies. So just what I see in movies.
I think 5 or 6 hours is a pretty good call out. There have been some that happen out of state that are 3 or 4 days, some that are several weeks. We haven't experienced those, but the several hour call out is very grueling, especially if you're the primary negotiator, the one that talks to the subject. It can be very exhausting. I've been on a couple calls where I was the primary and talking for 3 hours straight, and you're mentally and emotionally taxed by the end of it. But once again, you have a team behind you feeding you information or helping guide that conversation. But they can be very, very exhausting.
I would imagine. So once you guys get that call, just a typical situation, how do you decide among yourselves, this person's going to be the primary negotiator?
Well, as the team lead, normally what happens is our SWAT commander pages everybody and lets them know that, hey, we have a call. I start rounding up the troops, figuring out who we have, what the situation is. And once we land on scene, we get the information, I'll start making assignments. Sometimes as I'm driving, as I'm getting information, I can start formulating. But until I get there and get all the information that I have, you want to make sure you have your best person for that situation. And one thing about our crisis negotiation team is we're very diverse. We have refugees on our team. We have clinicians on our team. We have jail deputies. We all have a little bit of different life experience, and just kind of we even have one veteran on our team, which is awesome.
Nice.
But just knowing what the situation is, I'll start to kind of like, okay, I think this would be a good fit for the situation, and then we'll put them on primary.
Okay.
And I'll start making assignments from there.
Okay. And if you're in one of those if it's a 5-6 hour call out, has it ever happened where maybe the subject doesn't want to speak? Do you ever have to tap or tag out somebody in terms of speaking, just the main negotiation part of it?
We typically don't,
Okay.
But if we're not getting rapport, then yeah, we're not going to keep on repeating something that's not working. Well, we're willing to try a different approach, but typically the primary is the person on until there's a reason not to keep them on there.
Okay.
If the primary is caught in a lie or a half truth and the subject catches on to it, we've lost all rapport at that point. So we will strongly consider swapping them out for somebody else.
Okay. So yeah, I guess rule number 1, you've gone through these. Don't lie to the subject.
Correct. Yeah. Don't lie. Don't ever lie. And the reason being is, once again, if you're caught in that lie, then you've lost all rapport, and the whole scenario may go south, the whole situation. And that's obviously what we don't want. I'd rather tell somebody the hard truth than to lie to them.
So how has that been over the years that you've been involved with it? If you can just share a little bit about and not necessarily specifics, right? I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but just what you've experienced from a generalized point of, what do you find that people mainly want? Especially if they know, like, you're not walking away from this clear. There are going to be repercussions for this action,
Sure.
or these actions. What do you find that most people just want?
A lot of times, I think they're just scared. They don't know the process. They don't know what's going to happen to them. They think that the minute they come out, they're going to get gang tackled and thrown in prison. So we're there to kind of explain the process to them. Ultimately, they're leading the way. I mean, we can't force them to do something they're not willing to do. They have to be willing to do it themselves. So we're just a component of Ada County SWAT. We have the SWAT element. We have the crisis negotiators, and then we also have tech ops, the people with the gizmos and the gadgets and stuff that's way beyond my knowledge and skills. but we're just one component of it. And if we can't get that person to be willing to come out, and then we might just use a different approach. Once again, I think they're scared. And as you have these conversations with people, you try to figure out what their values are. Sometimes their values might be financial. Maybe this is going to cause them to lose their job. Maybe they can't provide for their family at this point. Sometimes it's emotional in that, they don't want to be put on TV, or they don't want to be seen surrendering to the police. So you just kind of figure out what they're valuing. Sure. One of the questions we'll ask is, we won't ask it this way, but we'll ask something to the effect of like, do you plan on hurting us? Normally we get an answer like, no, I respect law enforcement. Okay, that's something I need to let my boss know. Yeah. Or it's, no, you guys have done me wrong in the past. So we start to kind of gauge the officer's safety as well as any subject safety as well. But once again, trying to figure out what their values are. Most of the times they're just scared. So we're just there to talk them through the process.
Okay. What are the craziest things that they ask for, like item wise?
We've had people ask for high dollar items, food, which we're not above giving them food. We're more than willing to give them food if it helps us build rapport. Sometimes it's getaway cars, stuff like that. But then you're kind of asking like, okay, the money, what's going on with the money? So you start thinking, okay, maybe this is a financial thing. Yeah. Maybe, that's where they're valued and they're scared. They're scared about losing finances. Getaway cars, they just want to escape. So it's just kind of playing. I'm a checkers person, but C&T is very much chess. So I have to rely on some teammates to kind of explain stuff to me a little bit, but just kind of figuring out how to navigate the conversation from there is always fun.
Is this an area where, I guess just the Valley in general, do we have a ton of calls still for, are there a lot of hostage situations regularly, or is it kind of like, do you see them ramping up maybe with an influx of so many people into the Valley?
I think it kind of comes in spurts.
Okay.
Summertime always seems to be a time where stuff ramps up. Maybe it's the heat. Maybe it's just the stress of everything. Holidays can kind of ramp stuff up. Stresses with finances, but I don't know if it seems to ramp up, or I don't know if it gets super busy, or we get a lot of calls as much as we used to. It's kind of once again, it ebbs and flows. But our officers, even if it's not a crisis negotiations team, we have dispatchers, we have jail deputies, we have patrol deputies negotiating with people on their worst day. Every single day, day in and day out, we're talking to people that weren't expecting the police to get called to their house today. We're always negotiating.
You're always negotiating something. That's a great point. So thank you for bringing that into it. What would you say, tell me some of your main points of a negotiation win, just like the art of negotiation. What are you trained on? What do you implement every day? I remember you talking a lot about the active listening, right? And that's kind of huge. So tell me just about the importance, I guess, of negotiation in not just CNT, but just your everyday job. Like you said, some people don't expect that the cops are going to be called to their house. So what are the things that you've learned over the course of your career to really have successful negotiations?
No, it's kind of ingrained on us as negotiators. It's active listening. Active listening builds rapport, builds empathy, and then ultimately, hopefully, sooner or later, you'll get to behavior change. But active listening is the foundation for negotiations in just general. There's an acronym. It's called More Pies, which I'm an eating kind of person, so that's really easy for me to remember. The acronym is M for minimal encouragers, and that's just saying something as simple as okay, just to let the person know that you're engaged. You move on to open-ended questions. Those are the who, the hows, the whens. With my kids, I don't ask them if they had a good day at school. I ask them, what'd you learn at school today? Or what'd you enjoy most about school? Just something that kind of spurs a conversation. We have reflecting, which is, it's kind of parroting the last couple words somebody said. So if somebody says I can't stand this house, the dishwasher sucks, and I don't like where the refrigerator is, you'd say something like, you don't like where the refrigerator is? and they say, exactly, this is totally not feng shui, or whatever they want to say about that. Emotional labeling is something we use. That's E. That's something like, you sound very frustrated, or you sound like you're at wit's end. And if they are feeling that, they'll agree with you. Or if they disagree with you and they say, no, I'm angry because, the dishwasher's in the wrong spot. So let's see, we got MORE and P for pies, paraphrasing. That is just where someone talks for a little bit and you just kind of paraphrasing your own words, what they just said to you, and you say it back to them. Once again, it's just showing that you're engaging. I messages, and that's I, obviously. But that's like when you say something, I feel this. So once again, it's engaging. We've been kind of shying away from the I messages because then as far as negotiations, you're kind of detracting from you and you're bringing more to yourself. So we don't use those as much. The second E is effective pauses.
Okay.
So when we're having a conversation and you say something and I just sit there and give it 10 seconds to see if you want to continue or expand on the conversation or if you're done at that point. Because people hate silence. Awkward silences are weird. So somebody tries to fill in the silence, just like I'm doing right now. And then S is summary. Summary is basically when you talk for a few minutes and we summarize what you just passed on to us. But all those kind of lead towards us building empathy and then building rapport and then going up that behavior chain ladder.
So I would imagine if you go through all of this, right, with someone and you start to build the rapport and you've done, you said 5 to 6 hours is the long, let's say you've done 2 hours and you've really integrated in. If someone breaks that rapport, it's like wiped away everything you just did. So if that ever happens, or I guess should that ever happen, would you find that, if it's ever happened, would that be where someone's like, yeah, I'm not going to trust you now? And it kind of sets a whole other tone because now not only do you have to go through all the motions again and all those steps of recreating, rebuilding this rapport and just getting them to trust you a little bit. I would think that that's a moment that would be very challenging if someone broke that trust and just crushed that rapport. So, okay. So
Absolutely,
I guess,
yes.
yeah. So stick to the main, and the rules are what? Like the no-nos are, aside from don't lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't lie is the big one. We're not above, like I said before, introducing food. One of the creature comforts makes them feel better. We've even introduced cigarettes. 1 or 2 cigarettes is about all we'll do. Okay. But once again, that's starting to kind of build that trust and that rapport. A couple things we won't do. We won't introduce alcohol for obvious reasons, drugs for obvious reasons, and we won't exchange hostages. We won't introduce or exchange hostages at all, just because that's once again bringing in unknowns to a situation. Other than that, I mean, a lot of things are on the table. We've introduced pizzas. If it's hot and in the summertime and they don't have air conditioning, we might start talking about, it's cool out here, or the negotiator might say, oh, hold on for a sec, I got to take a sip of cold water. Just to kind of get that person thinking, maybe right. If I come out, then I'll get a cold water, or maybe that's a conversation piece for later. Sure. A lot of our stuff is intel based. We'll use whatever we can to find some information on somebody. I remember somebody was really into guitars on their Facebook page, so we started talking about. I didn't want to introduce guitars quite to that point because then I thought that they might think that we're looking on their Facebook pages.
Sure.
But I think we introduced like Guitar Hero at one point in the conversation, and he kind of bit onto that. So we use what's called hooks and triggers. Hooks are anything that catches their attention, maybe elicits a positive conversation. Triggers are something that we will not touch with a 10-foot pole after we find out about them.
Do people ever want you to bring them their family members, their wife, their kid, their whoever that's maybe if it's a divorce situation? I think of all the things that go wrong in someone's life that could potentially set them off to do something crazy. I would think probably divorce, family leaving you is a big thing, right? For some people, that's just such a massive life trigger.
Sure.
That would those be have you ever been asked, well, I want to see my wife or I want to see my kid?
all the
things.
time.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And we've been trained not to do that. We call it a TPI, a third party intermediary. And we can't control what happens if it's live. We can put the X on the phone and that might set the person off, even if they've asked for it. Or that person might pass on tactical information. So we do record TPIs, the third party intermediary, and it's normally through a script that we'll develop, but when we have to vet that person out as well. But we will not put children on with dad or any of that.
Okay.
Because we can't control what they're going to do or what the other person's going to do. And we don't want the innocent to have to deal with those repercussions for the rest of their lives.
Oh, no, I can't. I couldn't even imagine. I always, whenever I think of hostage situations, just again, not being trained in anything, I wonder always how much of it, I love the active listening. Thank you for sharing all the points. I also wonder how much of this is someone who just, again, maybe went through a really traumatic thing in life and feels that this is their way to be heard, which from a mental health standpoint, that's so sad, right? That's like devastating that you feel you have to go to such an extreme to get someone to listen to you. But the reality, I would think that that's kind of the reality, that's some of these cases. Am I right, or am I totally far off? Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times people just want to be heard, like you said. I've actually negotiated with somebody who I was the last person to have a conversation with the person. And, some of those are really hard because you've built this rapport. And I remember one case where this person, I shared a lot of childhood experiences. We may not have run into each other, but we'd fished the same areas, camped at the same areas, and just having the conversation. And he admitted to doing a lot of heinous things. And ultimately, I was the last person to have the conversation with him. But there are a lot of people that we'll have those conversations with, and they'll realize, hey, I'll live to fight another day, and they'll come out. There was one case, God, I'd like to say about 6 or 7 years ago or so at this point, but it was a call out that we went out to, and ultimately we chose to walk away. And a lot of the crisis negotiator members were not really happy with that. Some of the tactical people weren't really happy with that, but the person was obviously going through crisis. Our command had all the information that not every one of us had. So once again, we walked away. The person ended up getting some treatment, and he actually reached out to us and met with us a year later and talked about all the great things that happened since that fateful day. And throughout the years, he sent pictures of what his family looks like now because of us choosing to walk away. So we're still learning as well.
It's probably a process, I would think, just because you can never really predict how anyone's going to react to anything. And that's on a very large scale. I think in life, whenever we're dealing with another person and their emotions and thoughts and feelings, we can't control that, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's in work with clients, whether it's with things that you're dealing with subjects. It's a wild thing to know that everyone has like that flip moment where they could go either way. And whether we all do that or not the case, but it's there, right? It's present in all of us. So that's why your job and just everything that you deal with on a daily basis is such a wild card when you're dealing with people because you don't know. So very commendable that you and the team and you all deal with this and you go through everything you need to go through to learn how to kind of keep evolving and growing and doing better at that, because that's so crucial. Unfortunately, and really sadly, we're in this total mental health crisis, right? We have been for many years. I can't even say in America, it's global. It's probably been there forever and nobody's just really addressed it. So when mental health and really taking care of that became, acceptable, popular, spoken about more, just always brought to the forefront, I feel like that's when this all kind of clicked in. But we need to realize that everyone is just a wild card. We're all a wild card at the end of the day.
Yeah, and we don't know what everyone's going through on a daily basis.
Right.
Your experience is different from mine. It's different from everybody else's. What's stressful for me may be not stressful for somebody else. And it's, like you said, it's a wild card. And it's the more people we deal with, the more we're running into different situations. We have people coming back from war, and I couldn't imagine what they've experienced. And just knowing that, there are people out there, there are a lot of people that need help. And we have a dedicated crisis intervention team with the sheriff's office that we try to keep people out of jail. We try to work with them. There are people with mental health issues that I've been dealing with for years that they're not doing anything criminal, but we get called to them on a regular basis. But we do have those resources that we try to provide, and we try to help them out, which is awesome to have that kind of forward-thinking leadership.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So many years in this career. What are some things, I guess, over the years, what are the things that you have found the most rewarding, the moments? Because remember, you're still in it, so
Sure.
you're still going strong.
Sure. Rewarding. As a property crimes detective, I got to return some really cool, maybe not a big value, a dollar amount, but just really cool stories. When I was early in my career, we got to return a guitar that a guy opened for Johnny Cash. He played the same guitar, and he was in his mid to late 80s. But when we gave him his guitar back that was stolen, and he just started sitting there jamming right on it, and it was that was just like a cool moment where I'm like, okay, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Awesome.
There was a woman, and once again, I'm going through my property crime stuff because that was kind of my the highlight of my career for sure. But there's a woman who had her wedding ring stolen from two different grandkids during like a five-year time span. Neither case was related to the other, but they had sold her wedding ring for scrap. And I was able to thankfully get that back to her twice, which is, that's pretty crazy. But also solving some of those burglaries, the people that come in and they go in and ransack a house, steal all their personal items, but they left the clues that we were able to tie into 30 or 40 burglaries. But being able to give closure to those victims where they have an answer for why this person did it and know that person's in custody was amazing. But so that's my detective years. But as a patrol deputy, just bringing people to justice was a lot of fun. Working through, some of the stuff wasn't criminal, but we'd sit there and we'd talk through it and maybe help the person make different lifestyle changes. As a jail deputy, one thing that my current chief told me is like, you treat people with kindness. And I thought about that going through my career. And even as a jail deputy, I'd have conversations with people. But even now, I'll go walk around and people are like, hey, they call me by my nickname when I was a jail deputy, but they come up and hug me and talk about how great their life is because they changed their ways. So all that's rewarding. And I can think of, dozens of calls that I went to where we have awesome outcomes. And I can think of hundreds of cases where we had great outcomes where, I could still hold a conversation with maybe a coworker I haven't talked to in a couple of years. Those are all rewarding. And I tell the guys now and the guys and gals, like, take lots of pictures because pictures are free and we can store them and we'll find a place for them. But you're not going to remember every single call. You're not going to remember every single rewarding thing, but that picture can get you back to that area. So I try to be really good about taking pictures now. And I'm hoping that the younger generation will appreciate it later on. There's been calls I've gone to where I break down crying afterwards, but we know we did everything for the right reason, and that's rewarding seeing some of those kids grow up. So every part about this job is amazing, and it's after when it's time to retire, I'll have many different stories that I probably won't share with anybody else because they don't want to hear that. So thank you for this opportunity. That's really cool.
I think it's, to me, again, when you're able to learn from someone else and just what they've gone through, but just I can't even fathom what you see, right? It was never my calling I love helping people in the way that I can, but it's not to the level that you do. It's not to the extent that law enforcement and first responders and everybody else does. We all have our strength. We all have that thing in life that we can do. And so I just really respect, I think moving to Idaho and especially in Star, where there's such a respect for law enforcement and just our police and everybody. And for me, it was so different because I came from a place that it wasn't like that. And I came, kind of in the middle of COVID is when I decided to come out. And so it was just wildly different. And so there's something about just waving, being next to a cop on the road. And I know that I'm not doing anything wrong. In California, I'd be freaked out. because I had that one experience, right, where they gave me a ticket and I'm like, I didn't roll that stop. And they're like, you rolled the stop. I'm like, you guys did it. So now you have distrust because I'm like, you lied to me, right? I didn't roll it. But here it's just so cool. Like, I think I've been pulled over once here in Eagle, and it was to tell me super nice. I was like, please don't give me a ticket. And he's like, I'm not going to give you a ticket. Like, I'm just letting you know that when you turn at a green light, so it was the old state and Highway 44 light, and a girl was crossing the street. She hit the other side of oncoming traffic. It was my green, but she hit the other side. And in California, we can go the second they hit the oncoming traffic side. And he's like, here you have to wait till they get to legit the other side of the street, the sidewalk.
Okay.
And I'm like, I didn't know that, but please don't give me a ticket. He's like, I'm not going to give you a ticket. So very nice. And I think just having those interactions. And now I love our law enforcement. I'm just so grateful. So all in all, I mean, you shared those cool, rewarding moments. What would you, if you just had to give one line of, hey, Justin, why do you love still what you do? Like, what's the one thing? Why do you love it?
This is the community I grew up in. It's fun to be part of, I guess, the solution and not the problem. And I'm energized every day by new challenges. You never know what the day is going to bring, which is always fun. But kind of going back on your experience with law enforcement, I can't go into a 7-Eleven, or not a 7-Eleven anymore, a Jackson's or a gas station without somebody offering to buy my soda. It's such a great area to live in when we have so much support here. And I think that's the reason why our agencies are able to thrive, is because we have so much support. So thank you guys. And thank you for all the support. It's amazing to be able to work here. And it's an absolute privilege. And some of the, we call them the political refugees from other agencies that come to Idaho to work, they say it's like night and day. And they never thought it was, the law enforcement could be like this.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's, we're happy. I feel everyone who's a political refugee, just as a refugee, not a law enforcement one or another agency, we all came here and we're also like, heck yes, we have our police everywhere and we love it. Heck yes, I have a police flag on my car, but I've had it in California when I drive back there, but I get paranoid of what's going to happen to my car. How sad.
Yeah.
So here I'm just like, no, we're good. The cops are great. And it's just, I think when you have that, Treasure Valley as a whole, I still consider it a vast, small town. I talked to Mayor Chadwick. Star still feels very small town, even though it has had so much growth. But the valley as a whole, I still think it's a really big, small town.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone knows each other. It's just, they've all gone to school together, whatever it is. And I love that connection. I think it's so cool. And so coming here, you want to be part of it, right? Like, I want to be part of it. So I've done everything I had to do to really integrate and show, hey, I'm here for the right reasons. Hey, I love my guns. Like, hey, I love my freedom. That's why I came, right? Guns and freedom. So it's just really rad to live in a place where it feels still, you have that level of like Americana, I'll say.
Yes.
I love that because I'm like, we all just wanted this. Like, there's songs about it, right? I mean, we just love it.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
So I love that you grew up in a community that now you get to serve, protect and serve. And so from me, just a civilian, I thank you and all of your colleagues just for all you do. But, I can't imagine the day that you go through every day and then going back to your family. So I love that you have the balance. I love that you have a supportive family and then you have your work family. But it's just such a crazily different career path than I know anything about. So thank you for dealing with everything you deal with. And then I'm sure you guys also get a lot of wild calls. So I will have you share the non-emergency dispatch number.
Oh, yes.
Do you know it by heart?
Yes, I do. It's 208-377-6790. It works anywhere in Ada County. You can be at Eagle and Fairview witnessing a car accident. Tell them where you're at. They'll send the nearest officer. I'm a vandal, so I always say this, but you could be downtown at the Boise State game tailgating and watching a fight break out, and you just call them, tell them what's going on. They'll send the nearest officer. Hopefully the Broncos lose, but that's neither here nor there.
But they'll send someone anyway.
Yes, they know the appropriate jurisdiction, and they know the crime, and they'll get the information out to the officers.
Perfect. And I'll make sure that I note that number in the notes, because does your dispatch get just slammed every day with non-emergency? The regular 911. 911 gets hit with just non-emergency stuff all the time, I'm sure, right? Okay. So that's why everyone just needs to program the non-emergency dispatch number in their phone. I'm guilty of it too. I've never called 911 on a non-emergency, but I've wondered, like, who would I call? Because this isn't big enough, but I still want to get help for it, right? So car accident, if you got hit in your car, would you call non-emergency dispatch, or would you call 911?
Yeah, either one works. It goes to the same dispatch center. But non-emergency, if it's a fender bender, even if you're seeing like a suspicious vehicle in your neighborhood, something that just doesn't look right, call us about it. Call us when it's happening. You could be solving, a violent crime against a victim. Or it could be a DUI, it could be drugs. We don't know, but we don't know unless you call, because you recognize your neighborhood more than we do as we drive through. So don't be afraid to call us. No call is too small. Even if it's ducks crossing the street, we'll go to ducks crossing the street.
I love that. Okay, that's right. No call is too small. Thank you for that. And also, we have to do our part as civilians also of like protecting and watching out for our own community. So if something doesn't look right, if you see something, say something. We're back to these like taglines.
Yes, please.
Anything else you want to share?
No, I'm just one person in an over 800-person agency. We all have our different stories. I'd love for you to have more of our officers out there, more of our dispatchers. I think it'd be pretty fantastic. So once again, but thank you for the opportunity to share my story.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do for the community, and just thank you for being willing to share. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Well, then have a great day.
All right, you do the same.
Bye.
All right, take care.